Matt Schlapp served as White House political director under President George W. Bush. He is chairman of the American Conservative Union, and former Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich is a Fox News contributor. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you here this morning. So just given everything that we're learning with these back and forths with Doug Band and the money that was used and paid to Bill Clinton for speeches, and then they were fixing up meetings with him, with corporations and with foreign countries while his wife was Secretary of State. It's just sort of a head scratcher when you look at the fact, Matt, that the New York Attorney General, who is an open Hillary Clinton supporter, decided to shut down the Trump Foundation. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, I'm okay with foundations being scrutinized, and maybe there were some aspects of the Trump Foundation that deserved to be scrutinized. But Martha, it pales in comparison to anything we're talking about here. Here's the fundamental part of all this that is so disgusting. It was all about Hillary Clinton's serving in the Senate and serving as Secretary of State. When she became Secretary of State, Bill Clinton doubled his speaking fees. The whole time they went from dead broke to being worth hundreds of millions of dollars was on the back of her public service and using her public service to enrich the Clintons. And at the same time, the Clinton Foundation was marketing this whole idea that the Clintons were using their power and their network to help people. And we find out all their personal expenses were being pushed onto the foundation, and it was nothing more than a racket, and it smells.
All right. You mentioned the flat broke comment. Here that is to remind people.
We came out of the White House not only dead broke, but in debt. We had no money when we got there, and we struggled.
It looks like there was a pretty concerted effort, Congressman Kucinich, to turn that around quickly.
Well, there's three points here. First of all, there is no comparison whatsoever in terms of size, magnitude, reach, and workings between the Trump Foundation and the Foundation. The second point. Washington is a town where influence peddling is king. Former presidents, former members of Congress, the House and the Senate are all involved in it. The third point, and this is something that I think is quite significant, of all the work that I've seen done with respect to the foundation and possible conflicts, there's two areas that need to be looked at. One is the Saudi connection of Saudis giving money to the Clinton Foundation. Is that influencing U.S. policy in Syria, particularly with respect to the statements that Hillary Clinton has made of late about a no-fly zone? The second point is, all these attacks that have been going on by the Democratic Party against Russia. I just wonder the extent to which it may be to kind of misdirect public attention away from a uranium deal that the Clinton Foundation benefited from, and that resulted in Russia controlling about 50% of U.S. uranium output. I mean, that's a serious issue, and in the meantime, we're getting all this baloney about Russia trying to hack the U.S. election.
Great point, and we have talked quite a bit about that uranium deal here. Here's a quote from the Daily News today, which is not typically a big Donald Trump supporter. They're looking at the Hillary Clinton Foundation issue and saying it's a false dichotomy to put their political activities and their philanthropic activities in separate baskets. They are both means to the same end, which is seeking political power. And perhaps the only analogy that is appropriate between the two foundations is, as I said in the beginning, Matt, that the Trump Foundation was shut down about 3 weeks ago, and the Clinton Foundation keeps on going.
Martha, can you see why voters might think that all this is just unfair? I know Trump uses the word rigged a lot, and a lot of people in the media roll their eyes at that. But this is why people feel like there fairness. And what is the Obama administration doing when they see this wrongdoing? They have whitewashed every one of these Clinton scandals. And if they whitewash this one and do nothing from an investigation standpoint, this is going to just create more disharmony out there. And I think it's actually boomeranging on her politically. To get to what Dennis talked about, why doesn't she call out radical Islamic terrorism? Is it because regimes that fund them are actually funding their lifestyle and funding the foundation? This is very serious stuff. Why did she have a homebrew server? Is it because at the crux of all this, it's because they were doing these shady deals between the foundation and Bill Clinton Incorporated and who she was meeting with at the State Department? All of these things we've been talking about for 2 years, it all comes down to the same thing, the Clintons abusing their power.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And you both call essentially for an investigation into this, and it does seem merited. So we'll see where this goes now that all of this has come out. Thank you very much.